All right. Welcome to the AIS Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Kelly. And today we are going to go through clients versus contractors. Who is typically wrong? Why they're wrong? All the good stuff about those disputes. And I would love to say I am coming from a place with no experience on the topic, but we have had disputes in the past. And truthfully, any contractor out there who's been in business for a while and has dealt with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people, has ran across a few projects, a few situations where it's not a good fit, or something happens during construction that there's a dispute. So we're going to break down the common reasons why that happens and how to avoid that. All right, so why do these disputes happen? Now, first, I gave the caveat on the intro here that any contractor dealing with a ton of people every single year and throughout their career is going to have a few bad clients. And that is reality. If you're dealing with 500 clients, you have to imagine at least 1% of them have bad intentions or aren't genuinely just good people, right? There's a reality. There are bad people. Bad people do have homes. They do want to remodel those homes, but they might have ulterior motives by signing that contract, whether it is they know their rights and their laws, and maybe not rights, but they know how to abuse the rights they've been given, especially in California here. They have the saying in service industry, the client's never wrong. California agrees. They will definitely fight you tooth and nail. And oftentimes the governing body, the California State Licensing Board and civil court system, like everything kind of feels against you, right? Even for the smallest things, the smallest of things. Now, that being said, and that being true, most of the time it's the contractor's fault. And here's why. Proper expectations are rarely set by contractors when remodeling someone's home. Everyone is just trying to get the job. Right? Everyone needs to get this job, put food on the table, provide for their family, provide for their employees, whatever it may be. They're trying to get that job. Now, I'm not going to say contractors are inherently dishonest about expectations, but they definitely have a way to say what needs to be said to get the job sold. And that's a problem. One, it makes for horrible culture. If you're not setting the proper expectation with your client, that is going to trickle throughout the job. It is going to fall right in operations lap. And the expectation that they're going to fall short of, they're going to get the brunt of that frustration. And that is not fair to your team. It kills the culture. Number two, bad salespeople have to lie. That's the bottom line. If you can't go look a client eye to eye and give them the nuts and bolts, the good and the bad, the ugly side of remodeling, and do it in such a way that makes them leave that meeting liking you, trusting you, and knowing you more, you're a bad salesperson. You should not have to lie as a salesperson to get this job across the line. You should be able to communicate the process and the highs and lows of what they may experience in the process eloquently enough that they trust you, that even though there might be some hardship during this project, we trust that your process, your people, your quality, your communication will see this project through and we're going to be happy at the end. That is how it should be. Now, what do contractors usually do? Well, usually we'll be in and out of there in 4 weeks. No big deal. It's a kitchen, done 1,000 of them, 4 weeks in and out. Now, what happens when week 6 rolls around? And the client is sitting there thinking, hey, I thought this was 4-week job. You said it was 4-week job. Everyone said it was 4-week job. There's been no communication. It was going to be 6 weeks. My Airbnb, I have to be out of it. My rental, my commitments, all these things I planned around that 4-week timeline are now bad. I have to spend more money. I should be reimbursed for that money, right? That extra 2 weeks, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money in Airbnb, in food, and emotional damage. I should be compensated for that. And that is the mindset of a client who got a bad expectation and wants to get you back, wants to make you hurt just a little bit, right? And they might get a demand letter. They might go to small claims court. They might just pester you. after the job is done, just to be a thorn in your side. But that is your problem as a contractor. You did it to yourself. Setting the proper expectation for not just yourself, but your team, your reputation is all that matters. And the 1%, the 5 clients that might be bad people, those will happen. But that's why you also have process to weed those people out in the first place, or have process during your sales cycle, during the construction, that documents so good that a bad person is discouraged from pursuing you because they know you have all 4 aces in the pocket. You have all the information you need to protect yourself and your company. Now, what's another reason why expectations go south? Client, contractor has a dispute. Let's think of a few. And honestly, it's very similar to some issues you might have in your marriage. It's funny enough. A contractor and a client is a relationship, just like a husband and wife, or a he and a she and she. I don't know what you're into, but the same problems you have in your relationships, they're going to bleed into your relationship with your clients. If you don't communicate well, most clients aren't going to go with you if you're not communicating your process, if you're not following up, if you're not checking in, keeping them informed on where they stand. That's all people want to know. Where do I stand with you right now? Are we good? Are we moving forward? How much money is it going to be? How much time is it going to take? They just want to be informed. That's it. So communication is huge. The second is going to be, maybe you're great at communicating, but you don't follow through. That's going to cause a dispute, right? That's going to be an issue. Think of it. You tell your wife, hey, I'll be home at 6:30. I'll take the kids to practice. Well, you show up at 7. That's not good. Same thing in this relationship with your client. You tell them you're going to be there Monday at 7. You need to be there Monday morning at 7. If your guys show up at 7:05, 7:10, you lose credibility. You lose trust. Disputes are going to happen. You're eroding the trust they had in you when they hired you to complete the project. Next, what's another big thing married couples might bicker about? Oh, money. That's a big one we should probably address. Money is going to be huge. This relationship with your client is kind of tied to money. I mean, ideally, you have a bigger purpose as a contractor, and ideally, the client has a bigger purpose than just spending money on what they want. Ideally, there's a motion or an end result that's desired attached to the exchange of the money, which comes down to doing meaningful, purposeful projects. Maybe you're doing an ADU so that their parents can move in and live their last days as a family, right? There's a purpose behind that project. It's not just, hey, here's $200,000 building an ADU. It's not as transactional. But with money, this increases the threshold of conflicts, because even if it's a good person, it's not, those 5 people or that 1% of clients that might just be a bad person. Even if it's a good person, you mess with their money, there's a good chance they're going to get pissed off. There's going to be a conflict. And most of the time I see this with contractors in lump sum formats. So they have just a lump sum contract with no detail attached to it. Now, lump sum there's nothing wrong with lump sum construction contracts. You should, in my opinion, bear all the risk and all the reward of that lump sum. And you should know your numbers and price appropriately. That's a separate podcast. But you should treat it as if it's cost plus. And I say that you need to have a crystal ball. You need to be able to have every single actionable trade, material, hour allotment, manpower allotment exploited on your proposal. You need to have where every single dollar is going. Because even though you are lump sum, you will be picked apart as if you are stealing from them if they misinterpret one thing on their proposal, on their contract. For example, you might have a 1-page proposal for a kitchen remodel. It says, kitchen remodel, here is a paragraph of what's going on in that kitchen. New cabinets, new countertops, new doors and drawers, hardware, flooring, paint, backsplash, plumbing fixtures. All this is going to happen in 6 weeks. Here's the price at the bottom. There you go. Well, what happens when they go from a quartz countertop to a soapstone. What happens? How does that conversation happen? You said countertop in the proposal. Soapstone is the countertop material. How does that conversation go about? Hey, contractor here. Soapstone is $1,500 more a slab and costs about $15 to $20 more per square foot to fabricate. The lead time to fabricate is going to be longer because it takes more time to fabricate it than a man-made quartz. We're going to need the $1,500 for the slab plus another 30% for our overhead and time, plus the difference of fabrication costs. Here's a $5,000 change order for that soapstone. What do you think the client's going to say? Get bent. What are you talking about? I paid for a countertop. It's right here in the proposal. It says countertop. Right? That's your problem as a contractor. That is 100% your problem, not setting the proper expectation and not having in great detail what is going into the job and how much it costs. This is one big reason we're a proponent of COPE estimating, the cost of project execution. And truthfully, it weeds out the clients for us. The educated clients understand. The business owners, the C-level guys, the people who have experience in finance, all those people understand that we're protecting our operating costs. Like there is an expenditure for us to operate. You are paying for that by rendering our services. I don't have any skin in the game on what countertop you pick, right? It's above the line, transactional. If you don't have in great detail what you're doing, the proper expectation on price, if you're one of those guys that has a one-page proposal that has a paragraph and a price at the bottom, you're gonna get exposed. And you're exposing yourself. You're gonna get hurt. Your company is gonna get hurt. And your reputation is gonna get hurt. Because that same client, whether they sue you or make your life hell for a short amount of time or not, they'll go to Google, they'll go to Yelp, they'll go everywhere else. They'll tell your friends you will lose work because of your process. And that is just silly, because businesses should be graded and judged off of their end product, the end result. And unfortunately, in construction, every single position is the product. Every single position is the most important position. The CSR answering the phone is the most important position, just as important as the person in the house doing demolition, right? If one person doesn't do their job, the experience fails. It's not like a SaaS company or just a product where they get the product, maybe there's a bug or two that doesn't work well, and they are like, it's still a good product, One person in your company doesn't do their job effectively, you are now a bad company, essentially. That's a huge responsibility as a contractor that most people just want to put the bags on, go to work, get their job done, build a beautiful high-end quality of work, but they forget all the little things that's actually their service aside from the quality of work and the build. That's the easiest part of your job as a contractor. The toughest part is making sure your product, your people, your process, your systems align with the quality of your end result. All right, so that does it for my rant today on clients versus contractors. Take some accountability out there, contractors. Be better, do better. Yes, I'm calling you guys all out. So yeah, that's your problem. That's my problem. We got to fix that problem. So if you like this, comment, share, subscribe, give it to a contractor that's just starting out. I could tell them how to do all the things that are wrong. I'm very good at that. We already did that once. Therefore, I have a lot of great insight on what to do that's right. Because we paid a lot of stupid tax in the last few years, and I am happy to share that knowledge with other contractors. So keep reaching out, keep commenting, keep DMing us. We love talking to other contractors out there. And if you're a homeowner listening to this, yes, we have made mistakes, but we have learned from them, as every contractor in good business does. So we would love to work with you. If you have a question, reach out to us as well. Shoot us a DM. And until then, I'll see you on the next one.
If you got the fever, sit back and I'll make you a believer. I'm in control, now take me to your leader. It's about to get crazy now. I'm at the top of my game, I'm at the top of the stack while you stay the same.